What's going down, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and I say this at the beginning of every single video, or at least every single Android dogfight, but this might be the most epic dogfight I've ever done. I have in one hand the HTC Sensation 4G, came out today on T-Mobile, and this is one that a lot of people have been waiting for, and it has a dual-core 1.2 gigahertz processor, 8-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording, a front-facing camera, gingerbread with HTC Sense 3.0, and more. And then you have another huge industry heavyweight, the Samsung Galaxy S2. This one's been out for a little while longer, but it was announced at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona and also has a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, 8-megapixel camera, and it's running Android 2.3 with TouchWiz 4, Samsung's TouchWiz UI, but the newest version. So which one's the best? This is going to be an epic battle because they're both high-end devices. They're both speed demons, but one has Sense, one has TouchWiz. Which one's going to be the best? We'll find out that and more in the dogfight. But first, special thanks to our guys at Best Buy. They hook us up with a ton of phones, probably some of these in the future, maybe some of these if they come to the States. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, you don't deal with rebates, so if you walk in to buy the Sensation, for example, you don't have to deal with messy paperwork. You know, waiting 8 to 10 weeks, it's just frustrating. I don't like paperwork. I'm sure you don't either, so it's helpful to go into Best Buy Mobile. Enough of that, let's get into it, dogfight style. So let's take a look at the internet, and we'll load up PhoneDog on both of these. Load up PhoneDog, the best news in phone reviews. That is absolutely right. And then we're going to go over here, go to the internet, and load up PhoneDog.com, and wait for both of those to load. Yeah, we're going to continue. Security warning, what are you talking about? We're the coolest site on the planet. And that's going to load up, and that's going to switch from CNN at some point and load up. And let me go ahead and turn auto rotation on both of these. Let me make sure I left it on. Okay, I did leave it on that one because I like to turn that off. If you watch my videos before, you know that I turn auto rotation off because when I'm testing the device, it's not. I don't care for landscape mode. So, but here it is. PhoneDog's loaded up over here, and it's running Android 2.3. So obviously, Flash is enabled. So you can see, ironically, that's really funny. Hey, that ad looks familiar. That phone looks familiar. But ads running on the site. A lot of HTC ads actually. And you can see pinch to zoom is reasonably fast. It's not the fastest that I've seen, but you know, overall that's pretty good. No checkerboarding that I've seen on this. And then of course you can use it in landscape mode as well, and then we can scroll up and scroll down. So it's relatively fast. You know, it's interesting though, this device has a 1.2 gigahertz processor. This one has a 1.2 as well. And when I look at both of these, the Galaxy S2 is noticeably faster than the Sensation 4G, just in day-to-day tasks, just in internet browsing, or pinch to zooming and more. This one doesn't quite feel like a 1.2 gigahertz device to me, so I don't know if that's something they'll change with a future software update, if that's the fact that Sense 3.0 is just too overloaded or too bloated at this point. But you know, overall browsing's been pretty decent. It's nothing I can complain about, but just having used all these phones on a regular basis and worked with so many phones over the years, I can tell. So let's go down here to Windows, and you can see this is something I like that the overlays do. And actually somebody showed me a cool trick. Special shout out to my Facebook friend that showed me this. Let me give you his name, because I want to give him a shout out. Nick Fisher. Special shout out to Nick Fisher. This is actually something I did not know. When you pinch down, you're totally zoomed out. You can bring it right up into the adding additional browser tabs. So I can go, let's go to, you know, Web to Go or FlightAware, for example. And all I have to do is once it's loaded, I can just pinch in, or pinch out rather, and go to the next page. So what I like about this animated stuff over here, whereas there's no animation on typical Android. Now this just seems faster to me, and I don't know if it's because it's just more fluid, but you know, you can really see that 1.2 gigahertz speed here. It's just much faster, much more responsive. You can use it in portrait or in landscape. It's quick to transition, and the Samsung one has the same thing. The windows where you can add, it's very clean looking, and just overall a better experience to me than a stock Android. Good for people that are new to the platform. So let me bring up and let me get rid of this message because I was using this to test messages on my personal device. Let's go in here and take a look at the HTC keyboard. Now this is two keyboards in one. It's the typical HTC keyboard that you're familiar with, so we can say the Quick Brown Fox wants to swim in the pool. Swim in the pool. Quick Brown Fox wants to swim in the pool. Now you have the HTC keyboard here. You can use it in portrait or in landscape, and because this is a 4.3-inch display, and because it has 540 by 960 pixels, it's a nice long display where you can really stretch out your thumbs and use it if you're somebody like me that has big thumbs. Now on this side, what fools you though, it's not just the HTC keyboard, it's also, it has swipe-based technology, so you can say, hey there, and all of a sudden, bam, it becomes a swipe keyboard. How are you which I'm terrible at this kind of stuff. But you get the idea. It's 2 keyboards in one. So if you're typing and you're like, forget this. I was trying to say Phone Dog rocks, but Phonetic Tonka. Hey, that's good enough, Phonetic Tonka. But you get the idea. You can use that as well and use it as a swipe keyboard. So it's 2 in 1, whereas over here, we'll load up a new message. And you can see if you've seen TouchWiz devices in the past, this looks totally different. Has kind of an, again, an iOS look and feel to it. But here's the Samsung keypad, and it comes with Samsung and Swipe out of the box. SwiftKey and Gingerbread are 2 that I've downloaded from the Android market. Samsung and Swipe are the 2 that come out of the box. So if Swipe's your thing, that's on here. But we can say the Quick Brown Fox is really, actually, the Quick Brown Fox is pretty hungry. Really hungry, because he has not had lunch today. The Quick Brown Fox is really hungry. Relatively easy to type on. The Samsung keyboard is not my favorite. I think the auto correction is a little bit off, but there are plenty of options available to download in the Android market. And of course, you can sideload keyboards as well. So 4.3-inch display here. Yes, it's 480 by 800 pixels, so it's a little bit longer and fatter as opposed to this, which is a little bit more narrower and longer. So love or hate, you may prefer the longer display like this, kind of like what the Droid X has, or a little bit of a narrow, kind of like an Evo 4G feel over here. But there are plenty of other keyboard options available on the market. That said, it's a little bit of an improvement over the past Samsung keyboards, but still some work needs to be done just on the keyboard front. Now there's some awesome customization in here as well. Like, let's go back and I can show you in settings. This is something I've always wondered why they never did this. You can go to message skin, for example, and see that you can change the skin colors and skin types in SMS. So you have all these different options. You can't download more, but there are 5 pre-installed here, so you can really customize and make your messages I've never understood why they didn't do that since TouchWiz 3, but it is available in TouchWiz 4. Quickly, I want to go into HTC's Listen application to show you what it's like. And I had California Girls pulled up, but I'm going to pull out of here so you can see the music store. It's a music store, and I think Android operators are really beginning to realize that they need an ecosystem like iOS. You know, I pull an iPhone out of the box. Within 2 minutes, I can be downloading music from iTunes. I can be using the App Store. They, of course, have Android Market, but they don't have a good music alternative. There are a couple scattered programs out there, but there's no real one that's taken off. So it's nice to see HTC Listen here. I hope this takes off as a popular application for them. But you have stuff you've purchased, your downloads, and your store. And so we can go in here, for example, and take a look at, let's go to pop. Let's go to some pop singles. Let's rock the pop. Oh yeah. And you can see that's there. And while that's loading up, I want to take a look just to show you Google Music as well, which I have pre-installed. You can't judge. It's okay. It's a good song. And I like his name too, so that's probably why I picked that. Let's do Wow Edit by Kylie Minogue. So you can see that's here. And then while it's loading up, I wanted to show you what Google Music looks like. Google Music isn't something that comes on the Galaxy S2 or on this. You know, you can download it from both. But there's what that sounds like. It's not instantaneous. You know, I mean, it takes a minute for it to download based on network connectivity. Yeah, kind of has a good ring to it. But there's that. And that's kind of a brief overview of HTC and HTC's Listen program. Now here's this.
It's a Friday night. Have you seen Aunt Joe? And don't worry about staying out too long. Don't fuss over me.
I'll be fine alone. A couple years ago, I heard this song for the first time. Loved it ever since. Like his name. Anyway, you can see that here's what Google Music looks like. You can quickly scroll up and down. Yes, I have a weird taste in music. It's like pop and rap songs. So there's that. And Google Music, which of course you need a beta. It's a beta, you need an invitation to get into, but that's on here as well. Now both of these have 8-megapixel cameras. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at those. Then I want to do some quadrant standard scores and speed tests, and then we'll sign off on this video. So we'll bring up the Droid Charge here just so you can see, and we'll do a quick picture test down here at the With Google part. Both of these have 8-megapixel cameras that are capable of shooting 1080p HD video. So we can go back here and have a look. And there's the picture. Overall picture quality is pretty impressive. Easy to read the With Google. Maybe a little washed out around the around the colors, but overall I'm pretty impressed with it. And then of course let's do this one. Wait for it to zoom in. Let's do. Come on. And then here it is on the Galaxy S2. Now both have 8-megapixel cameras. There's been a lot of praise about the Galaxy S2's camera, and I think it's certainly good. But I think I'd have to give the overall award to the Sensation 4G. Just off of this quick picture test, I think the Sensation 4G takes a slightly better picture than the Galaxy S2. But you know, it's a minor test. If you get the ability, test them both, and so you can really get the idea as to what you want in terms of picture quality. But both are great. I mean, there's no downside to either one, but I think there's a slight advantage to the colors in the Sensation 4G. Now let's load up quadrant standard here on both of these. Go ahead and run that. And here's where you really see, I made the claim in part 1 and I think in part 2 as well, that this, for a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core device, it doesn't feel like a dual-core device to me. It feels more like a single-core, a fast single-core. You don't really get that speed demon feeling with this one that you do with the G2X and with the Galaxy S2. So I'll show you what the quadrant standard scores are. I think you'll find it particularly interesting here. But overall, call quality has been pretty decent. I will say call quality is better on the Galaxy S2. This one, you can tell that HTC wasn't marketing this as a voice device. They were really pushing data services and HTC Hub and, you know, just the way it looks. It really, of all the places it excels, call quality really isn't one of them. I found that at its highest volume it was a little muffled and a little staticky, and some of that's network based, but you know, I use something like the G2X and the call quality is a little bit better there. 2017 on the quadrant standard score here, whereas over here 2,981. Usually this one's in the 3,000, so it's interesting to see it that low, but 2,900 here, almost 3,000, 2,000 over here. So a marked difference there in terms of speed, and I do see it in everyday use. I think the Galaxy S2 is an overall faster device. So speed test here, and we'll do this as we're signing off because I'm quickly running out of time. Let's wait for this to load up. Load up. Greensboro, good. Greensboro, that's the closest server to us. They got rid of the Charlotte one for whatever reason. But you can really see the differences here just in the color. I mean, you can see that it's more vibrant on the Galaxy S2 side. But network, you know, this one is an HSPA Plus device. It does support AT&T's HSPA Plus band. So if you buy this, you're a T-Mobile customer, keep in mind, you import this from overseas, you're only going to get Edge speeds. You import it and you're an AT&T customer, you're going to get HSPA Plus speeds and 3G speeds as well. So something to keep in mind. That said, this one's been pretty good, even though it's only an HSPA Plus 14.4 device, meaning that it can only hit 14.4 megabits per second. They're pretty decent speeds. 4.53 megabits per second over here, whereas on AT&T's HSPA Plus, we got 1.79 megabits per second. Overall, though, one of these has to be declared a winner in the dogfight. I'm declaring it to the Galaxy S2 because in terms of overall speed, user interface, and just the way it works, this is the one. Now, if you're going for design and design alone, the Sensation 4G has a better design. And if you only have a couple $100 to spend, I say a couple hundred, like that's minor change, that's a lot of money, the Sensation 4G is your device. But if you can afford it, I think you'll be incredibly pleased with the Galaxy S2. That said, it's almost $800. It's an expensive device. And this one, you know, does a good job. But the Galaxy S2 is the winner because of the speeds, because of the overall package, what you get with, you know, good camera, a decent camera, a great screen that's 4.3 inches, and highly improved TouchWiz 4. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com. You think I'm crazy? You think the Sensation should have won? You think I'm awesome because the Galaxy S2 is the best device ever? Let me know. PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Now, it'd be crazy if I didn't mention our Facebook page too at Facebook.com/PhoneDog because we're giving away a ton of stuff. iPad 2s, smartphones, and more as part of our colossal iPad 2 and smartphone sweepstakes. So like us over there, and we'd certainly appreciate it, and you can win stuff as well. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.